Hello everyone, this is Jamie and welcome to episode 24 of Multiblock Madness. Last episode, we left off in the middle of crafting our void ore miner. We have the controller and some of the structure panels, except when we went to try to craft the structure frames, it was like, nope, we're missing all the things. And today, let's pick up from here and craft the things that are missing. So looking through this list, actually, it's missing a lot of individual items. Most of them are no big deal though. Stardust, this is something I should probably automate, or at least automate the production of star metal ore. Graphite, I think I'm literally just missing a recipe for. I should have plenty of, I have tons of graphite ingots. But the biggest thing that's missing is the titanium. Titanium is did I can find it in this list here? Here we go. Yeah, we're missing a lot of titanium ingots. And titanium ore is not that common. I think it's called rutile. It's found mostly in the deep dark, or the beneath, I guess. But even then, it's only 0.7%. So instead of trying to mine it, let's set up one of our automated quarry type devices for it. Kind of spawns at all Y levels. So anyways, our options, I think the big two are either the builder or the digital miner. The third option is the excavator from Immersive Engineering. However, that requires us to actually find a does it actually show me what it looks like? Does it? Just out of curiosity. But it requires us to actually find an appropriate vein, and I don't know. I suspect there is one. I just don't know how rare it is. I imagine we'll be sampling veins for quite a while to find it. So anyways, given that we're looking specifically for one resource and that it is a relatively rare ore, I'm thinking the digital miner will probably do a better job of finding it. The digital miner mines much slower than the builder. However, it only spends time mining the specific blocks you want. It has very powerful filtering tools. Whereas the builder, it's kind of the give me literally everything in this 512 by 512 block area, mine it all, put it in a chest. So because I'm after something very specific, let's go with the digital miner. It has the advantage of also being cheaper. The shape card for the quarry requires a assembly machine, and the assembly machine requires liquid nitrogen, which yeah, I guess we need to super cool. I don't know. We'll deal with that when we get there. For now, digital miner should be quite craftable because we have our lifetime supply of singularities. Part of the digital miner requires a sag mill, and the sag mill itself requires a capacitor. So I want to make it the best capacitor I can. I think I remember the way to do it. For now, we want to take a capacitor that has a global level of just a hair below 3, and then we want another one that's anywhere between 3 and 4, and another one that's anywhere between 2 and 3. I don't know if 3.0 works. Let's take it as a trial. And all of these have to be of the same type. So let's see, I have my here, 2 point something there, we'll do. My goal is to make a capacitor as close to 5 as possible. That's as high as you can get by combining these, if memory serves me right. So if I combine you with you, do you go up? You do not. So this counts as above 3. That's not what we want. We combine this with that. That should go up. No, it doesn't. Does that go up? There we go. Okay, so that takes its level from 3 to 4. Hold on. 2.9. Oh, it's using... I want to get this from 2.95 to 3.95. Not quite sure what I have to combine it with to get that. Here we go. So this one plus that one makes a 3.95. This is important because, remember, 5 is a cap, right? So if I combine that with this goes up to 4.95. That one still might be special. There we go. So a 4.95 capacitor. Now let's try again with this. I want to see if I can make a 5.0. Forget it. Can't figure it out. Probably doesn't matter because the majority of Sagmo recipes are like these, 2,000-3,000 RF ones. And whoa, did I see a infinity grinding ball? Hold on. I did. How good is it? That's a very good grinding ball. Of course, you need infinity ingots to make it. Anyways, like this, the energy amount is so low that it's within 1 tick of work anyways. So it doesn't matter. Anyways, drop this into here. I did update our Applied Energistics Trousers Edition again. It has a neat new feature. We'll look into that in a bit. Then we can craft ourselves a digital miner. Before I go set it up, I want to just drop off a large batch of glowstone into our filter here. So I believe I already have all the filters set, namely just the filter right here. Yeah. So this will craft our glowstone into blood-infused glowstone. We can come pick it up later. Anyways, let's grab a few mechanism upgrades and head to the deep dark. I also grabbed a ender chest so that we can send the items back, and one of these things, power cell to send energy over to here. So it doesn't really matter where we put this. I should try to fit it in one chunk. Sure, you can go down here. We just have to give it power in, I think it's the green dot here. Items come out, the dot in the back, and upgrades can be placed in through the UI or by shift-clicking the bottom block. That block is where the actual tile entity is that represents, you know, the thing. The thing's a multi-block, right? So if you want to time to bottle it, you time to bottle that one. Anyways, I wanted to mine, I guess for now, let's only go for rutile ore. We can come back and set it to get all ore. So I assume dense rutile doesn't generate, so I just want ore rutile. And it'll specifically go mining for this. Maximum radius, I think, is like 32 blocks. And I wanted to go from Y level 0 to how high does this generate up to? We'll go all the way to 255. There we go. And then when I start this, it will mine all 361 rutile ore pieces nearby, and it uses a boatload of energy. All right, 64,000 RF a tick. We're going to need a better way of sending energy here than the power cell. Let's head back to the overworld because I don't have much infinity energy yet, and make flux network. Flux points, flux plugs. Conveniently enough, the quest rewards us with 8 flux coins, almost as if we're supposed to power it with these. So, flux points, flux plugs, I'm missing... I think it takes a bit more than 8 to make one of each, unfortunately. But the recipe isn't that bad. Once you can make the digital miner, you can easily make these. Put the flux plug anywhere on an RF producer, or like able, or you can put it directly on your producer if you like. And I almost always turn on disable limit mode on my flux networks because there's no downside to disabling the limit. So set a network, select the network, and there we go. So the flux networks can transfer, effectively speaking, infinite RF between plugs and points. Plugs are where energy comes from, points are where energy goes to. And this will replace the power cell. And there we go. It's giving it the, on average, 64,000 RF a tick it needs to run. I just want to be sure. Did I actually put... Yeah, I put both speed and energy upgrades in. Jeez. All right. Well, given a little bit of time, this will grab this surprisingly little rutile around. We're really going to need more than this. I'm going to let this run to completion, and then maybe even move it once. In time to speed it up. Yeah. After moving it around a few times, we'll get total 1,000-ish ores. That should be enough to last us until we have the tier, I think it's minimum, well, this is tungsten, but I think both tungsten and rutile start at tier 4. So once we get to the tier 4 void miners, we no longer have to worry about it. But until we get there, we'll have to pull it out of the dirt. Back home to continue working on the other bits that we were missing. I've run into this issue a couple times before, but often our processing machines have other patterns fill up, right? This is our alloy smelter, has 9 slots used up. I could add another interface and get 9 more slots, but eventually you run into the situation that I ran into here with my, find it again, my compactor here. There's 1, 2, 3. There's already 4 interfaces on this compactor for recipes, and I'm kind of like out of room. You can't put compactor doesn't accept input the front, so I could, in theory, squeeze one more in the back somehow. But yeah, eventually you run out of room for interfaces. Well, this feature was in Browser's edition. Applied Energy 6 recently was ported over. It originally came from the GTNH fork of Applied Energistics. There's a new item called a pattern expansion card. It's effectively just an enemy interface, and it gives you another row of patterns. So you can have up to, I think it's up to 3 of them in a interface, and you can therefore get up to 4 interfaces worth of patterns into one interface, and that's pretty awesome. The downside is that it makes this interface use extra energy. So if I get a, can I check with just a regular wrench? Can't, right? But it makes it take 4 times as much energy per upgrade. So with 1 upgrade, it's 4 times energy. With 2, it's 16. With 3, it's 64. So where avoidable, you can, avoid doing that. Here, let me just make the Applied Energistics wrench to show you. Just right click on any network device with a networking tool, and you get this menu, which shows you how much energy your network is using. Generally speaking, it's not a high number. Most of it comes from wireless, like literally half. But almost all devices have a relatively small passive drain, like drives, a little bit. Interfaces cost 2 RF per tick each. Great. I think the unit might make a bit more sense at AE. So they cost 1 AE, base 1 AE is 2 RF, but they cost 1 AE per tick each because I have 1 of the cards installed, right? One of our interfaces now uses 4. If I install a second one into here, that should go up to 16, I believe. Right, so now we have, basically we have 15 more drain than we have number of interfaces. That's because one of the interfaces is using 16, and if I install the last one, it goes up to 64. 64 RF a tick, okay, that's fine, I guess. But it does add up if you use, 1.5 million. Ooh, there's a thing. Don't take your last card out when you have a pattern in there. It just straight eats your pattern. Good to know. I'm going to have to remake that one. And this feature is compatible with the interface terminal as well. The extra slots just show up in the interface terminal as you would expect. So you can drop them into the extra slots there as well. For making star metal ore, I'm going to set up a little contraption here that just shines starlight on a block here. The block will automatically be placed with a block placer, and then it's picked up with an annihilation plane that dumps it into a storage subnet here, and then I just have to get some power over to here. So let's grab a quartz fiber and hook that up to our existing part of the ME system. That there. And smart cables. Did I line this up right? It says we drew it up. All right, so that is very fast. It almost instantly transforms our orichalcum ore into star metal, and then we can process the star metal further into either dust or ingots. Long last, I think we're ready to make our 24 of these, 20,000 bytes, just to make 24 structure frames. We might actually have to run a full-blown quarry for some of these, like boron, lithium, uranium things. Yeah, it's 200 rutile. In fact, while that crafts, let's plan on doing that. And looking at how much energy our digital miner used up, I'm hoping that we can switch to the builder and that the builder will use less energy, because now we need a whole bunch of different ores. And if we're just going to mine out all of the beneath, let's bite the bullet, make ourselves a assembly machine to make a quarry card. I wonder, what else does the assembly machine do? We need the mechanism laser, I'm sure, for something at some point. Not much else, though. I guess it's more efficient at making coils. I gathered up all the components for the assembly machine. Can't help but wonder, did it really need to use 16 different stacks of items? But whatever. Can't quite tell which way it's facing, and then you know what? That's all it is. Whichever way it insists on facing is the way we're gonna build it. Because trying to rotate this thing without actually being able to rotate the preview is going to drive me insane. So, good news is at least we get a preview, right? It'd be much more unpleasant without one, and it does look pretty cool. So, once we've gone through the trouble of building it, we get to play with it, and it's built. Not my first correction or my first choice for what way it's facing, but you know, you play the hand you're dealt. Kind of honest, it looks kind of like a weird mishmash of blocks. But then again, my whole base is a weird mishmash of blocks, so I am in no position to critique it. Anyways, looking at the recipes for it, there's generally there's exactly two different fluids used, molten lapis and liquid nitrogen. For now, I'll set this one up to use liquid nitrogen. The ones that don't use the fluid will obviously can go in either. But when I assume later in the game when we need 50 million lapatronic energy orbs for making the fusion stuff, the fact that we get quadruple yield for making them in the assembly machine as opposed to making them by hand will be a huge boon. But I'll set up another assembly machine for lapis later. So anyways, liquid nitrogen is just a matter of a lot of nitrogen. Every 64 millibuckets of nitrogen gets super cooled into 1 of liquid nitrogen. Good news is nitrogen is trivial to collect. We just have to make probably a dense nitrogen collector to feed into a supercooler to make liquid nitrogen. The supercooler, I just realized, uses 10,000 RF per tick to do its thing. I can pay for it, but that means I can't pay for it if I put upgrades in it. On the other hand, if I put upgrades in it, we just don't make nitrogen fast enough. It's just as efficient, I guess, so we'll put some. 32. We don't make nitrogen fast enough for 32. We make nitrogen about fast enough for 16. Good enough. These upgrades are basically free, so whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna keep a moderate sized buffer. My comments, there we go. A moderate sized buffer of liquid nitrogen because it's somewhat slow to make, as we're seeing, and it takes 4 buckets per operation. It takes this thing probably a couple minutes to make 4 buckets. Additionally, the absolutely massive hatch here, I feel like because I have that on never active, the absolutely massive hatch, as big as it gets, holds a whopping 32 buckets. So not that big, but anyways, this thing is now ready to make its quarry card, but I'm gonna hold off on that for a second because our crafting for the void miner has finished, and I want to get this set up because we have to run the tier 1 void miner for quite some time before we're allowed to upgrade. So let's come up with a place to put it. How about right here? Yeah, good choice. A nice thing about this pack is we can quite easily switch the controller between the 3 types: ore, resource, and botanic. Like, this is a really cool feature. But for now I want the ore, but that also means that later on, if I want to run a void the void resource miner, mostly for, I believe it's mica for upgrades, we can easily switch our one miner to the other mode. So anyways, let's just build this out real quick. Place the controller and then just hold right click on it with a assembler. And the assembler does what its name suggests. It assembles. Once it's built, you have to dig a hole from the laser all the way down to bedrock. And with any luck, I will fall into a puddle of lava. Nope, looks like I managed to avoid the lava. Hit a redstone vein though. Once it's done, it starts lasering. Good thing laser doesn't hurt you. And we're mining. So I just have to, well, it's not mining yet, I have to get the power. But once we hook up power and items, or somewhere to put the items, it will start mining. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, at least for the short term, dump all the items into, you know what? No, let's do things right. Let's just dump all the items into drawers. Yeah. For now, I'll just dump everything to the black ender chest. It's black because it's mining the void's black. Like my heart. I don't know. Anyways, I'm also going to switch our lens out, I think, from the crystal lens, which is really nice that the crystal lens in this pack has a custom recipe to use 6 pieces of litherite instead of 6 blocks of whatever the tier 2 crystal is. The crystal lens mostly, well, it gives you the crystals, erodium, that's the one. So I need about 100 pieces of erodium to upgrade our Voidware miner from tier 1 to tier 2 at 10 pieces. That's about 1,000 operations. And at, does this tell me? At 20 seconds in operation, where that's 20,000 seconds. Is that right? 1,000 operations for the 20 seconds. Yeah, 20,000 seconds it's a lot of hours. That's like 6 hours. So I could wait 6 hours for this thing to give me the 100 pieces of road or whatever that crystal was that we need. However, the first goal that I need to mine for is actually landesite, and that's for 34 times 2, so 68 pieces of, that's definitely not landesite. I skipped like 6 syllables. Lansdaleite? Lansdaleite. All right, but yeah, I need 68 pieces of this. This is also what, like, so it's like 1 in 12 operations. So 12 times 68 is still a very big number. I don't know. It's going to be faster to, I think, directly mine the Lansdaleite than it is with the black lens than it is to try to mine the to get to a tier 2 miner with the crystal lens. So my point is, I'm going to swap the lens out for a black lens. That was a lot of mumbling to say one sentence. I'm sorry. Until we dig up one of each thing that goes into the drawers, I'll periodically have to check the chest to, you know, assign the new items to their slots. But so far we've gotten 2 pieces of that crystal. Maybe to speed things along a little bit, I'll set up a second void miner with a crystal lens. It's just that the a void miner isn't exactly cheap once we account for, let's see, I mean, 17 I guess 17 terasteel is not a big deal. It's not that bad. I'm still short various nuclear craft ores to make a second void miner, so I figured let's make our quarry first, our builder quarry, and then that'll give us ores to make the second void miner. In the process, we've already set up our assembly machine here. Everything that goes into here except the basic processor we have, so here's the bad news. The basic processor requires another assembler. All right, that's not bad. You know, that's just a machine. And this requires N-type doped silicon. So we're really we're going deep in the rabbit hole here. N-type doped silicon requires a fission irradiator of a regular silicon wafer. Silicon wafer is easy. We can just cut a silicon bowl for that. We can already make that. But I'm pretty sure in order to run a fission irradiator, we have to have a fission reactor of some sort. So I can make the thing, I think, but I'm pretty sure we have to put it as part of a nuclear reactor. I did see that it says referred to this chapter here, and the quest I want to do is this one. So good news is we have like 6 hours of wait time before our void miner, can I fly please, before our void miner produces enough resources that we're allowed to continue on chapter whatever 6 anyways. So let's spend this time getting into nuclear physics, I guess. We have to start by building a simple fission reactor, and this is not the nuclear craft reactors that I've used a whole bunch of times. These are nuclear craft overhauled, I think is what it's called. Well, the mod is still nuclear craft, but the fission reactors, or the entire reactor system has been overhauled, so I know next to nothing about it. I'm just going to follow the quests and see where it leads me. So I've already made a separator because I needed uranium-238 for the platings. So we have some of each form of uranium, a fair bit of uranium ore to go around. Good, 1 quest down. Next, we have to make our first fuel. So we can make either these fuels. There's no best of these, but since the quest asks me, oh no, we can make any of, so oxide, nitride, or zirconium alloy. Let me see if I can figure out what the difference is. Each of these fuels has like 17 different stats. I mean, okay, there's 5, but 5 is almost 17. if you think about it. Anyways, I'm not a nuclear engineer. I don't know what any of these mean. I mean, I know what base depletion time means. I can probably take a guess as to what base heat generation means, but I have no clue what exactly efficiency, criticality factor, or decay factor mean. So I'm just going to make the one that's easiest to make, and that's nitride, because we can collect nitrogen. We can collect nitrogen as nitrogen. So yeah, we just have to make uranium-23 LEU-235 by mixing together fuels in the right ratio. Very easy. And then jam it into, dunk it in some oxygen, or, well, yeah, dunk it in some nitrogen to make the nitride pellet. After that, I think the next few quests are just building the components. So I'm going to just craft those off camera unless there's something interesting there. And then we have to put it all together somehow. Most of the material crafting that goes into the reactors is pretty straightforward. It's rather similar to what it was pre-overhaul. Now, all of the mechanics that go into building the reactors are explained reasonably well in these quests. Generally speaking, they explain what each of the stats are, how to, like, what requirements have to be met, and I've read through it a couple times. It almost makes sense, but I think the best way to learn is by doing. So I'm going to start by doing the reactor design that's given to us in the quest book. I'm very, very thankful a reactor design is given, because if it wasn't, oh boy, I'd be in trouble. So this is the reactor design that's given to us. All we have to do is build it. I mean, I guess that's all there is to it. Let's build one of these. Now, if we manage it wrong, I do believe they are meltdown capable, which means that they'll turn into, useless fluid blocks. Thankfully, it doesn't explode. It doesn't do any permanent damage around it. So I don't have to worry, about putting this in a blast-proof shield or anything. I think, knock on wood. I built the reactor as instructed with the blocks as instructed. Let's walk through how exactly this works. First of all, you need two vents, one for fluid input, one for steam output. The steam can be used to make energy, and the amount of steam you make is dependent on your reactor. So our reactor right now is making 17 millibuckets per tick of steam, which is each millibucket of steam, it makes 64 RF per tick, or 64 RF, because this is not normal steam, this is high pressure steam. To turn it on, by the way, you have to supply a redstone signal to each of the fission neutron sources that irradiates that blasts your fuel cell, which is that block right back there. And if you leave them on, they continue to do so, which causes your reactor to run, I believe, at higher energy, maybe, possibly, or not. I don't know. This number was higher before when I had them on. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know the exact details, but anyways, it makes steam. The next set of ports you need are a fuel cell input and output. So you put fuel cell in, spent fuel cells come out. Wow. Lastly, if your reactor includes irradiators, which are the blocks in the corners there, then irradiator ports let you put in raw silicon wafers. Maybe the irradiators can do other things as well, but over time it will turn it into N-type doped silicon, and this is what we built this entire reactor for. So here we go. I don't actually know how to turn the reactor off. Here we go. Now we're running at 31 millibuckets per tick production efficiency. I think that might depend on where in your fuel's burn cycle you are, although I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's dependent on whether or not you have these on. I don't know very much about these reactors. I think it shows. But anyways, this produces our N-type doped silicon for us, and this is what we needed to make the Quarry card. So I think at this point, our reactor is safe. I can just leave it be. Its net heating is negative because it produces more cooling than it can possibly produce heat. All of our coolers are passive. So I think I'm safe to just leave it here. This reactor doesn't seem to care if it has a redstone signal, so I can't be like, hey, just chill. I think if I want to turn it off, I just have to take the fuel out. Oh yeah, here we go. It's run through one fuel cycle, and we can then reprocess the fuel, much like before. We get, you know, certain things out of the fuel chain. I don't know if we have to go far up the fuel chain in this pack or not. My gut says sooner or later we will have to. But and now that we have this dope silicon, we can use our assembler to turn them into processors. So let's go pick up that assembler real quick just to complete the quest. Not this one, not that one. Where is the assembler? Hey, here it is. The Quarry shape card says it takes 1,000 RF per tick per block, which I think it mined more than one block per tick at full speed, because it can definitely eat way more than 1,000 RF per tick. But anyways, I'm going to infuse our builder. Shift right click it in, because the infused builder is faster and more energy efficient. I think it ends up using more power because it is faster, but it ends up getting more ores per RF. So that's kind of the important value. Anyways, there's an infused builder. I don't need the digital miner, a flux point to power, and I'm going to dump its contents into the black ender chest. I'm also going to grab a filter from RF tools so that we can tell it not to mine some common stones, like probably just cobblestone. I'm dumping everything into the black ender chest, so we'll add it to our ore wall here, I guess, even though technically not everything it mines is an ore because I'm not silk touching it, but well, it'll get, like, you know, plain old redstone and lapis and whatever, and that's okay. I'm not sure if you have to blacklist stone or cobblestone to make it not mine the stone, but I just put both on. And then the rest are just the various filler blocks that are here in the deep dark. It doesn't look like there's actually any of the diorite, whatever the other useless overworld filler blocks are. Here in the deep dark, just limestone. And apparently swimming in that stuff gives you haste. Good to know. Anyways, we put the filter in there. Then we have to configure the shape card to tell it what to mine. So we're gonna have it mined as much as we can, which is 512 by 512, and I think I'm gonna go all the way from Y255 to 0. And all right, when we put that in there, we can tell it what corner the builder's in. So I want, let's see, I want to start by mining the quadrant I'm in. So I'm looking northwest. So the builder will be in the southeast corner. Is that true? And now if I hit the preview button, it'll show the preview box, but I have to manually fix the vertical offset. Generating the preview also generates a lot of chunks, so hitting that button always takes a little while. Wasn't quite what I wanted, but I guess we'll make do with it. We are currently at Y level 58, so I have to offset the vertical down 57. So 127 minus 57. Come on, we can do this. The zeros cancel. 100 minus 57, 30, 70. We did it. Live math. You can tell it to void these useless blocks through here, but if you do this, it'll mine the block and then void the block. Whereas if you use a filter to tell it not to mine the block at all, you don't pay for it. You only pay for blocks mined. So let it regenerate the preview. And now it should go from top of the world to bedrock. And I'm just going to trust that I did it right. So I think all we have to do is turn it on now. I don't care for any of these settings. Flip the switch and immediately, okay, hold on. You are still mining. Oh, because you're on whitelist mode. Now, I posit that this is whitelist mode and that's blacklist mode, right? But whatever. I'm not going to win arguing against the machine. The machine makes its own rules. So I want to restart it because I had it running only mining cobble before. And now it should mine, but it's still only mining cobble. Because I still left it on whitelist. Jimmy, you... Wait. Mode blacklist. Oh, maybe... Hold on. Yeah, with it saying black... Am I just blind? Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I'm... Let's try that again. All right, I'm not crazy, I swear. It starts off when you get a fresh filter on mode whitelist, but the button saying blacklist. The first time you click it, it does nothing. It stays whitelist, whitelist. And then when you click it, it goes to blacklist. So my intuition was right. It's just that the initial state of the filter is wrong. Anyways, that should all be fixed now. So I undo this out and start it up. Good. Now it's mining everything except for cobblestone. And to that end, when it's not doing, when it's just scanning empty blocks, you basically don't pay for it. Looks like there are, whoopsies, the charred stone comes from a dragon's nest. Well, we just ate a dragon's nest. Don't really need charred stone, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the blacklist as well. On the overworld side, we just have to take the various things that are getting mined up and throw them into various drawers to be stored. And the ores mostly will go into non-compacting drawers. Basically if it can go in a compacting drawer, it will. So once again, this will probably, until we've seen one of every item that comes through here, I'll probably have to come back and revisit this chest from time to time just to make sure it doesn't get jammed up. But after we've seen one of every item, we just have to let it run. Every single one of these drawers is voided and fully upgraded, so they can hold effectively infinite number of items. I think it's like 300 some thousand. It's a very large number. Over the course of the day, we've significantly increased our power consumption, but our production is still here at 55,000. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade all of these. Oopsies, I did not mean to break that. All of these, I hope that kept its data. It did. Turbines to extreme alloy ones. Ooh, look at that X-ray. Fancy. But that'll bring us up to one. How do I actually do the upgrade? Can I not do it? Right click while sneaking. Right click while sneaking. Hello? I guess I'll make new turbines. But yeah, that'll bring our power generation up to 200 or 100,000 RF a tick. Wrap things up for the day. I'm going to build our second Voidware miner now that we've now that Quarry's pulled up enough raw ores for us that I can afford to do this. So the energy cost, that's not really a problem, but for this one I'm going to leave the crystal lens on it, so it'll mostly get it'll target these whatchamacallit crystals. I need the purple ones. There we go, Erodium. So that come tomorrow, hopefully I'll be able to upgrade our void miners to tier 2 and beyond. It's like back of the envelope math, right? 5 to 6 hours of runtime. I don't have this world on a server, so I'm probably just going to leave the game open for a couple hours. Besides this little, like the very beginning of environmental tech here, so far it seems like this pack doesn't really need a server. So we'll give it a shot. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that brief delve into nuclear craft. There'll be a lot more nuclear craft and QMD stuff to come. Just a quick chat, I guess, about what my plan is. I saw that here in the nuclear engineering quest, the way off quest here for neutronium. It says there's 2 ways to get neutronium, either through the orbital space station miner or Rock County and QMD. It says the latter is harder, but I think it's going to be way more fun. So right now my plan is that we will do Rock County and QMD for neutronium, because these are just mods that seem reasonably cool that I haven't played with. And while I am adverse to learning anything because I'm apparently too stupid to learn, this is as good an opportunity as ever to learn. Anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope to see you in the next one. I think I've already done my sign off, but then I started talking about something else. So for real, goodbye.